The power of letting go. In a world obsessed with control, the art of letting go can seem counterintuitive. We are often encouraged to hold tightly to everything: relationships, careers, beliefs, and dreams. Yet, what if the key to a peaceful and fulfilling life is actually releasing what no longer serves us? This is where Stoic philosophy comes in. The Stoics believed that attachment to external things inevitably leads to suffering. Marcus Aurelius famously wrote, "Everything that we see will eventually pass." This simple yet profound idea reflects a fundamental Stoic truth: everything is temporary. Letting go, in Stoic terms, is not about neglect or abandonment, it's about embracing the inevitable and learning to live freely in the present moment. The importance of accepting impermanence. Life is a constant flow of change. What we value today may no longer be meaningful tomorrow. Everything is temporary: relationships, careers, even our emotions and thoughts. This is an unavoidable truth. Accepting impermanence is the first step in letting go of what no longer fits our current life. One of the profound teachings left by Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, is, "Everything that we see will eventually pass." This statement holds a powerful message about the transient nature of everything, and the acceptance that nothing lasts forever. Instead of fearing change, Stoicism encourages us to embrace it as a natural part of life. Change is inevitable, and when we understand that everything is bound to end, we no longer feel pain when we have to let go or lose something. Accepting impermanence doesn't mean we stop caring about the things we value, it means we acknowledge that everything may change. And when it does, we can face it calmly rather than letting it hurt us. The benefits of letting go. Letting go doesn't mean giving up everything in life. On the contrary, it's a deliberate choice to eliminate things that no longer serve us, are no longer useful, or aren't aligned with our journey. When we learn to let go of things that no longer benefit us, negative emotions, limiting beliefs, or relationships that hinder our growth, we create space for better things to enter our lives. The first benefit of letting go is freedom. When we are no longer bound by things that no longer serve us, we become freer in our mind and spirit. We are no longer burdened by the past or by relationships that no longer fit. Instead, we can focus on what is now: relationships, goals, and aspirations that help us grow and live a meaningful life. The second benefit is inner peace. When we no longer crave to control everything, when we stop letting things beyond our control dictate our emotions and actions, we feel more at peace. Our minds become clearer, and we are no longer distracted by unnecessary worries. We learn to live in the present moment, where everything happens naturally and we are not burdened by excessive expectations. Finally, letting go brings growth. By facing and accepting change, we learn to adapt and develop. The difficulties and challenges life presents become opportunities to learn and improve. No longer clinging to the past, we can move forward, ready to embrace new opportunities and build a fuller life. The key to letting go: mastering the mind. One of the central tenets of Stoic philosophy is the realization that we can only control our minds and our responses. We cannot control the outside world, change, loss, or difficult situations that life throws at us. But we can control how we face and respond to these things. Change is unavoidable, but how we react to it is entirely in our hands. We can choose to let go of negative emotions, regrets, and fears about the future, or we can hold on to those feelings, allowing them to control our lives, preventing us from moving forward. Letting go does not mean giving up, but rather learning to see things objectively and with intention. We can accept change, but not let it weaken us. Instead, we can learn from it, practice patience, and stay grounded when facing challenges. One of the most liberating truths Stoic philosophy teaches us is the acceptance of impermanence. In a world that encourages us to hold on to things, people, and achievements, the Stoics remind us that everything we hold dear is temporary. From the relationships we cherish to the goals we pursue, Nothing in life is guaranteed to last forever. Yet, instead of being paralyzed by this fact, the Stoics teach us that accepting the temporary nature of all things can actually lead us to a more meaningful and peaceful life. Understanding the nature of change. To understand the power of accepting impermanence, we must first acknowledge that everything changes. The seasons change. People come in and out of our lives. And situations evolve over time. This constant flux is a natural part of existence. And fighting against it only brings frustration and suffering. The Stoics were keenly aware of this. Epictetus, one of the most influential Stoic philosophers, taught that we should focus on what is within our control, our thoughts, reactions, and decisions, and let go of trying to control external events. When we try to control or hold on to things that are meant to change, we end up exhausted and disappointed. Instead, we can find peace by accepting that change is the only constant. In practical terms, this means recognizing that the relationships, jobs, or possessions we have today might not be here tomorrow. This realization is not something to fear, rather, it should remind us to cherish the present and embrace the beauty of impermanence. Nothing in life is permanent. And by accepting this, we free ourselves from the anxiety of losing something we hold dear. The Stoic mindset, seeing change as natural. For the Stoics, impermanence wasn't something to fight against or avoid. It was a fundamental aspect of life that should be acknowledged and embraced. Marcus Aurelius, another famous Stoic philosopher and Roman emperor, wrote in his Meditations, "Everything is just a momentary occurrence, like a flower blossoming and then wilting." This poetic yet profound reflection illustrates that the flow of life, with its constant cycles of growth and decay, is natural. We often think of impermanence as a loss, a negative event that takes something away from us. But in the Stoic view, the change is not inherently good or bad. It simply is. The real suffering comes when we resist change, holding on to things that are inevitably fleeting. Instead, the Stoics teach us to accept impermanence with grace, viewing it not as something to be feared but as a natural part of the flow of life. The more we resist change, the more we experience suffering. On the other hand, when we accept the fluid nature of life, we begin to let go of the emotional burden of attachment. This does not mean we stop caring about the people and things in our lives, but it means we stop clinging to them out of fear or anxiety about losing them. The role of death in acceptance of impermanence. A critical aspect of accepting impermanence in Stoic thought is the recognition that death is an inevitable part of life, rather than being something to avoid thinking about. The Stoics considered death a powerful motivator to live fully in the present. Seneca, one of the most prominent Stoic thinkers, advised reflecting on the idea of death regularly, not in a morbid way, but to remind us of life's fragility and brevity. The Stoics believed that by contemplating death, we are better able to appreciate the present moment and live our lives more intentionally. This practice, known as memento mori, Latin for remember that you will die, was a constant theme in Stoic writings. It serves as a gentle reminder that all things are temporary, and by facing our mortality, we can embrace the richness of life in the here and now. Death gives life its meaning. When we recognize that our time is limited, we naturally start to prioritize what truly matters. Practical steps to accepting impermanence. Accepting impermanence is not something that happens overnight. It's a practice that requires time, reflection, and intention. Below are some practical steps we can take to cultivate this acceptance in our own lives. Embrace change. The first step in accepting impermanence is to embrace change when it happens. Instead of resisting it, recognize it as a natural part of life. If you lose a job, a friend, or even a dream, try to see it as part of a larger flow. This is not a defeat, but an opportunity for something new. Live with detachment. Detachment does not mean not caring about people or things, but it means not letting them define your happiness. Practice living with less attachment by reminding yourself that people, objects, and experiences are temporary. This helps prevent you from being overly dependent on external circumstances for your happiness. Focus on what you can control. The Stoics emphasized that we cannot control the external world, but we can control our reactions. When change happens, focus on how you respond to it. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I adjust and move forward? This shift in perspective helps you maintain your peace in the face of change. Practice gratitude. Practicing gratitude allows us to appreciate the present without clinging to it. Be thankful for the people and experiences you have today. But don't hold on to them out of fear. Appreciate the momentary beauty of everything that is here now. Reflect on death regularly. Contemplating death is not about being morbid, but about reminding ourselves that our time is limited. This reflection helps us live with intention and prioritize what matters most. You don't need to dwell on death, but take a moment each day to acknowledge that your time is finite, and use it wisely. Accept loss as part of life. Finally, understand that loss is inevitable. Whether it's the loss of a loved one, a job, or a phase of life, it's essential to accept that nothing lasts forever. Letting go of the idea that everything should stay the same opens us up to experiencing the fullness of life without fear or regret. Focus on what's within our control. One of the core teachings of Stoic philosophy is the understanding that while we cannot control external events, we can control how we respond to them. In a world filled with uncertainty, this Stoic concept offers a powerful sense of freedom and peace. Focusing on what's within our control means shifting our attention away from external circumstances and placing it on our internal responses, actions, and thoughts. Understanding what is within our control. In Stoicism, the world is divided into two categories: things that are within our control and things that are not. What lies within our control includes our thoughts, our emotions, our decisions, and our actions. We have the ability to choose how we perceive a situation, how we react to it, and what steps we take moving forward. On the other hand, everything outside of us, other people's actions, the weather, our past experiences, and circumstances we cannot influence, are beyond our control. The Stoics encourage us to focus solely on the things we can control, as investing time and energy into things we cannot change only leads to frustration and suffering. Epictetus, one of the most influential Stoic philosophers, famously said, "We cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them." This simple yet profound truth is the foundation of Stoic practice. We have the power to choose our responses. The freedom of focusing on what's within our control. When we begin to focus on what is within our control, we stop being victims of external events. Instead of feeling helpless when things go wrong, we realize that we always have a choice. For example, if we face a difficult situation at work, such as an unfair criticism, we cannot control the actions of our colleagues or managers. However, we can control how we respond to the situation. We can choose to take it personally and react with frustration or anger, or we can take a step back, reflect on the feedback, and decide whether there is something we can learn from it. By focusing on what is within our control, we free ourselves from the constant pressure of trying to control the uncontrollable. We stop chasing after things that are beyond our reach and begin to focus on what truly matters: our thoughts, our actions, and our choices. This shift in focus brings a deep sense of empowerment. Taking responsibility for our reactions. Taking responsibility for our reactions is at the heart of Stoicism. When we recognize that we control how we react to external events, we stop blaming others or the world for our emotional state. Instead of complaining about what is happening around us, we ask ourselves, what can I control in this situation? This concept is best understood through the Stoic practice of self-reflection. When we reflect on our emotions and reactions, we can understand what triggers us and why. If we feel anger or frustration, we can examine the cause of those emotions and ask ourselves if the situation truly warrants such a response. Stoicism encourages us to approach every event with mindfulness, carefully considering how we want to respond. By taking responsibility for our reactions, we take back our power. We no longer give external circumstances the ability to dictate our emotional state. Instead, we decide how we will meet the world. The power of acceptance and letting go. One of the most powerful aspects of focusing on what we can control is the practice of acceptance. Acceptance, in Stoic terms, is not about passivity or resignation, it's about acknowledging the things we cannot change and choosing to let go of our attachment to them. For example, consider the loss of a loved one. We cannot control death or prevent it from happening. What we can control is how we choose to respond. We can choose to mourn the loss in a healthy way, cherishing the memories while accepting the natural course of life. Or we can allow grief to overwhelm us, refusing to accept the impermanence of life. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Acceptance of what we cannot change frees us from the emotional turmoil that comes with resistance. By focusing on what we can control, we learn to let go of the need to force things to happen the way we want them to. Cultivating emotional resilience. Focusing on what we can control also helps us cultivate emotional resilience. Resilience doesn't mean never feeling negative emotions, it means learning how to handle them without being overwhelmed. When we face adversity, the Stoics remind us that our emotions are not to be suppressed, but understood and mastered. Instead of reacting impulsively, we can choose to pause, reflect, and act with clarity. By doing this, we build emotional strength, the ability to face any challenge with calm and composure. Resilience in Stoicism is about reframing challenges as opportunities for growth. Every hardship offers a chance to practice virtue, whether it's patience, courage, or wisdom. By seeing adversity as an opportunity to exercise virtue, we no longer fear challenges, instead, we embrace them as part of our personal development. Practical steps to focus on what you can control. To practice focusing on what is within your control, here are some practical steps. Identify what you can control. In any given situation, take a moment to identify what is within your control. Ask yourself, what can I do here? What can I change or influence? This exercise helps shift your attention from external events to the things you can actively affect. Let go of what you can't control. Recognize that there are things you cannot change, other people's actions, the past, the future. Let go of the need to control these things. Instead of dwelling on what you can't do, focus your energy on what you can. Choose your response. When faced with adversity or challenges, remember that you control your reaction. Take a step back and choose how you will respond, calmly, thoughtfully, and in alignment with your values. Practice acceptance. In situations where you cannot change anything, practice acceptance. Acknowledge that life is not always fair or predictable, but you have the power to choose how you deal with it. Let go of your attachment to a specific outcome. Reflect regularly. Take time every day to reflect on your actions and reactions. Ask yourself if your responses align with your values. Reflecting regularly helps you become more aware of your patterns and improve your ability to choose better responses in the future. Build emotional resilience. Practice resilience by embracing discomfort. View setbacks as opportunities for growth. By learning how to manage and recover from challenges, you'll develop stronger emotional resilience. Embracing adversity for growth. Stoic resilience. One of the most powerful aspects of Stoic philosophy is its emphasis on adversity. Rather than shying away from challenges or hoping for an easy life, Stoicism teaches us to embrace adversity as an essential part of the human experience. The Stoics believed that hardship is not an obstacle to peace and happiness but an opportunity to grow stronger, wiser, and more resilient. Resilience, in the Stoic view, is not just about enduring suffering but about transforming it into a tool for personal development. In this section, we will explore how the Stoic approach to adversity can help us build emotional resilience, develop a mindset of growth, and ultimately thrive in the face of life's challenges. Stoic philosophy and the role of adversity. The Stoics viewed adversity as an inevitable part of life. In fact, they saw difficulty and suffering as integral to the process of becoming a virtuous, wise, and strong person. Epictetus, in his teachings, often said that what upsets people is not things themselves, but their judgments about these things. According to Epictetus, the way we perceive and react to adversity is what determines its impact on us. If we view difficulties as insurmountable obstacles, they will overwhelm us. But if we see them as opportunities to practice virtue and grow, we can use adversity to build our character and strength. The Stoics didn't suggest that we should seek out suffering for its own sake. Instead, they taught us to face difficulties with equanimity, seeing them as inevitable events to which we can choose our response. The key lesson is not to avoid adversity, but to embrace it with the mindset that every challenge we face is an opportunity to strengthen our resilience and develop greater wisdom. Building resilience through perspective. The first step in embracing adversity for growth is changing our perspective. Stoics encourage us to see challenges not as burdens, but as opportunities for growth. For example, if you face a difficult situation at work or in your personal life, the Stoic mindset would ask you to consider the situation as a chance to practice courage, patience, or temperance. By seeing adversity as a chance to embody virtue, we can shift from feeling victimized by our circumstances to feeling empowered by them. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, often reminded himself to see obstacles as tools for self-improvement. He wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This profound statement encourages us to view challenges as stepping stones toward greater strength and personal development. Instead of resisting hardship, we learn to face it head-on, knowing that it will ultimately contribute to our growth. Emotional resilience, responding with strength. Building emotional resilience is a central goal of Stoic philosophy. Emotional resilience is the ability to cope with stress, adversity, and challenges without being overwhelmed by them. The Stoics didn't believe in suppressing emotions or pretending that life's difficulties don't affect us. Instead, they advocated for the management of our emotions through mindful awareness and self-discipline. When faced with adversity, the first step is to pause. Rather than reacting immediately with frustration or fear, we can take a moment to assess the situation and choose our response. By doing so, we prevent ourselves from becoming swept away by our emotions and instead take control of them. This practice of mindful response allows us to stay calm, think clearly, and act in alignment with our values. Additionally, self-discipline plays a crucial role in building resilience. The Stoics believed that emotional resilience is a muscle that we can strengthen through consistent practice. When faced with difficulties, instead of succumbing to our emotions, we discipline ourselves to respond with patience, wisdom, and virtue. Over time, this discipline allows us to become more resilient in the face of adversity. Turning adversity into opportunity. One of the most empowering aspects of Stoic resilience is the belief that adversity can be transformed into opportunity. The Stoics didn't just accept hardship, they welcomed it as a chance to improve themselves. Whether it's a personal setback, a failure, or a challenge in our relationships, each difficulty offers us the chance to practice and reinforce our Stoic virtues. For example, if you experience a setback in your career, instead of viewing it as a defeat, you can view it as an opportunity to learn. Perhaps there are areas where you can improve. Or maybe the setback offers a chance to redefine your goals. Every challenge contains a lesson, and by approaching adversity with this mindset, we transform it from a source of suffering into a source of growth. Seneca, another prominent Stoic, wrote, "Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body." This quote encapsulates the Stoic belief that challenges make us stronger. Just as physical exercise strengthens our muscles, emotional and psychological challenges strengthen our minds and our characters. The Stoics understood that it's not the difficulty itself that shapes us, but how we choose to respond to it. Practical Stoic strategies for embracing adversity. To build resilience through adversity. Here are some practical Stoic strategies that you can implement in your own life. Reframe adversity as opportunity. The next time you face a challenge, ask yourself, what can I learn from this situation? How can this adversity help me grow? This simple shift in perspective can turn a difficult situation into an opportunity to practice virtue. Practice mindful response. When faced with stress or adversity, pause before reacting. Take a deep breath. Observe your emotions, and choose your response consciously. Mindfulness gives you the space to decide how you want to engage with the challenge in front of you. Focus on what you can control. In any difficult situation, ask yourself, what aspects of this situation are within my control? Focus your energy on what you can change, and let go of the rest. By focusing on the things you can control, you preserve your energy and mental clarity. Cultivate patience and endurance. Resilience is built over time, and it often requires patience. When facing hardship, remind yourself that this is a temporary situation, and with time, you will overcome it. Endurance is key in building long-term resilience. Seek support from Stoic teachings. The writings of Stoic philosophers like Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca are invaluable resources for building resilience. Whenever you face a challenge, return to their teachings and remind yourself that you are not alone in your struggles. Reflect on your growth. After overcoming a challenge, take time to reflect on what you've learned. Recognize how you've grown through the adversity and celebrate your progress. Reflection allows you to integrate the lessons of hardship into your life. Living with purpose, Stoic philosophy for a meaningful life. As we've explored in the previous sections, Stoic philosophy teaches us to accept impermanence, focus on what we can control, and embrace adversity as an opportunity for growth. But perhaps one of the most profound lessons Stoicism offers is the importance of living with purpose. Stoicism encourages us to lead a life that is not dictated by external forces, distractions, or momentary desires, but by a deeper sense of meaning that aligns with our highest values. A life of purpose is one in which we act with intention, making decisions that reflect our virtues, goals, and the person we wish to become. In this section, we will dive into how Stoic philosophy helps us discover our purpose and live a life filled with intention, integrity, and fulfillment. The Stoic concept of purpose. For the Stoics, the concept of purpose was not about achieving fame, wealth, or worldly success. Instead, it was about living in harmony with nature and reason, and aligning our actions with our highest moral values. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations that the purpose of life is to live virtuously and in alignment with nature. To the Stoics, this means that everything we do should be in pursuit of cultivating the virtues of wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance. In Stoic thought, living with purpose isn't a fleeting ambition or a goal to check off a list, it is a lifetime commitment to growth and virtue. Purpose is not something we achieve once and for all, but a continuous process of striving to live well. It's not about what happens to us, but how we choose to respond to and navigate life's challenges with virtue. Living with intention. Living with intention means acting consciously and deliberately. It's about making choices that align with who we want to be, not merely reacting to life's events or circumstances. Stoicism teaches us that the quality of our life depends on the choices we make and how well we embody the virtues in every moment. The key is to align our daily actions with our highest values. If we value wisdom, we can choose to make thoughtful decisions and seek knowledge. If we value courage, we can act bravely in the face of challenges. If we value justice, we can ensure that our actions are fair and respectful toward others. Stoicism encourages us to live intentionally by constantly asking, does this action align with the person I want to be? By living with intention, we free ourselves from being caught up in distractions and mindless reactions. We create space for more meaningful actions that contribute to our long-term happiness and inner peace. Seneca expressed this beautifully when he said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." Living with intention helps us avoid wasting time on fleeting pleasures or unimportant pursuits. Discovering our purpose. To live with purpose, we first need to understand what truly matters to us. The Stoics encourage deep self-reflection to understand our values and goals. By examining what is important to us and what brings us fulfillment, we can align our actions with our authentic purpose. Stoic practices like daily reflection and journaling are powerful tools for discovering and maintaining our purpose. Every day, we can ask ourselves questions like, what did I accomplish today that aligns with my highest values? Where did I fall short? And how can I improve tomorrow? Am I living in alignment with my true purpose? Or am I being swayed by external expectations? By engaging in daily reflection, we continually remind ourselves of our higher purpose and make course corrections when necessary. We don't have to wait for a major life event to discover our purpose. Every day offers an opportunity to realign our actions with the life we want to create. Stoicism and the pursuit of virtue. For the Stoics, virtue is the highest goal and the true source of happiness. By pursuing virtue, we align ourselves with our purpose and live in harmony with the universe. Virtue is not about achieving perfection or a certain external standard, it's about living according to the highest ideals of human nature. The Stoic virtues, wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance, are the foundation of a purposeful life. They guide our actions, shape our decisions, and allow us to navigate life's challenges with grace and integrity. Wisdom is the ability to make sound judgments, think critically, and act with clarity. Courage is the strength to face fear, adversity, and uncertainty with resilience. Justice is the commitment to fairness, integrity, and respect for others. Temperance is the ability to control our desires, maintaining balance and self-discipline. By embodying these virtues, we don't just act for the sake of action, we act with purpose and integrity, making decisions that contribute to the greater good, both for ourselves and others. Purpose beyond external success. In a world that often measures success by external standards, such as wealth, fame, and status, the Stoics teach us that true success is not measured by what we accumulate, but by how we live according to our values. Marcus Aurelius, despite being an emperor, understood that true happiness and fulfillment come from living a virtuous life, not from external achievements. In his Meditations, he writes, "A man's worth is no greater than his ambition to live with virtue and reason." The Stoic message is clear: your worth is not determined by what you achieve, but by how you live your life, how you treat others, and how well you stay true to your values in every situation.